This is Mike Franklin, a property tax guy, and today we're going to talk about the Michelle Allen case in Fairhaven, Oswego County. Just this past week, the lawsuit was filed, and so I'm going to review that lawsuit with you. I think you're all aware of what transpired. She went to a public meeting and was arrested for asking if there were going to be minutes to the executive session where action was taken as required by law. And apparently they didn't like that. So in Google, you go to NYS e-file. E-file is the New York State Unified Court System website where you can look up lawsuits in the New York State court system, or you can file your own. Over here on the left, you'll see create an account. You can create an account, put in your credit card, and you can file your own lawsuit. Next up is search as a guest. So I'm going to search on name. I'm going to go Michelle Allen. And I'm going to select Oswego County. Search. Here it is, Michelle Allen versus the town of New Haven et al. Okay, and here's the summons and complaint. And first, we're going to review the parties. Michelle Allen Gregory versus the town of New Haven Town Board, and Daniel Barney individually and in his official capacity as town of New Haven Supervisor. Supervisor Barney is a convicted felon, according to John O'Brien of the formerly of the Syracuse Post-Standard, and Lisa Peebles, a federal public defender. That Barney has been arrested approximately 19 times. I've heard it's in the 20s somewhere. I cannot verify that, but I think it's generally accepted that Dan Barney is a convicted criminal. It's pretty apparent he doesn't know right from wrong, and he's a bit of a hothead. Also named is Herbert Hawker. Herbert Hawker was the constable stuck in the middle of Barney's nonsense in his official capacity, not as in his individual capacity. Town board member, he's a town board security officer. Mary Crucio, individually and in her official capacity as a New Haven town board member. Mary likes to play politics. She's ingrained in the Oswego County political scene. Apparently has family members and also involved. But she's what I call a Barney licker. Let's see. Yes, she is also suing Oswego County, the Oswego County Sheriff, and Don Hilton, the Oswego County Sheriff, individually in his official capacity. Also, Oswego County deputies Aaron Fedora. Aaron was the guy who wrote up all this paperwork, but he wasn't doing all the talking. Caitlin Gregory was doing all the talking, spewing all the nonsense about when you can and cannot identify people per the Fourth Amendment. And her supervisor, Amanda Pretori, who apparently taught her unprofessional and unlearned ways. So those are the defendants. Michelle Allen is the plaintiff. So she's suing them for. We'll get into that into the lawsuit. Here's the addresses of the various people who are being sued. Okay, and so these paragraphs are numbered. Basically, initially, it sets the scene of, the people, where they live and so on and so forth, and their role in the situation. And it's all kind of preliminary stuff. It starts to get interesting about item 16. On the 21st day of November 23, the plaintiff lawfully entered and occupied a building at the town of New Haven, known as the Town of New Haven Town Hall, to attend a public meeting of the Town of New Haven Town Board. Now, you can go to YouTube and go to Audit the Audit, and you can watch all the body camera footage. And my YouTube channel is Assessor Audit, all one word, Assessor Audit. And I have body cam footage there and narration as to what transpired. Let's see. On that date, plaintiff was caused to be falsely arrested, detained, and prosecuted for the charges of criminal trespass in the third degree. It's my understanding to trespass, you have to be trespassed from a public space, you need to have committed a crime. So anyway, it goes on and on. So she was arrested. She was taken to the jail, stayed overnight. In the morning, they led her in leg irons to her arraignment because she asked if there were going to be minutes to the executive session. It seems kind of ridiculous. What they were doing was the sheriff, in collusion with Dan Barney, a couple of Republicans who do petitions for each other when they're running for office, colluded with the district attorney, also a Republican, because they wanted to teach her a lesson, and they figured she didn't have the ability to defend herself. That's what they like to do. They like to pick on people who don't have the wherewithal to defend themselves, financially or otherwise. And what they're learning is that, well, she can defend herself, and she does have friends who do not appreciate the way that the sheriff's department, the district attorney, and this idiot Barney behaved in this particular situation. Item 21, no legal basis. It really gets interesting right around item 40. But feel free to read the whole thing. On March 1st, 2024, and again March 7th, 2024, the defendant Daniel Barney and defendant Oswego County Sheriff Don Hilton encouraged and importuned defendant Oswego County Sheriff Deputy Aaron Fedora to commence and file additional criminal charges against the plaintiff, to wit. So in other words, they arrested her in November, and then they want to double down in March. They're trying to intimidate her. And they found out that didn't work, as the the charges were dismissed. These additional criminal process against the plaintiff was pursued by defendants Barney and Don Hilton. Now, why Don Hilton is he was having phone calls before the arrest with Supervisor Barney, and it was pretty apparent that Barney premeditated the arrest. He was looking for any opportunity for her to step out of line so he could have her arrested in collusion with Don Hilton, the sheriff of Oswego County, and his thugs, Pretori, Gregory, and Fedora. Okay, so as a result of the conduct, the above named defendants, plaintiffs suffered further economic and non-economic damages, including but not limited to costs associated with defending these baseless charges, further humiliation, further mental pain and anguish, and further damage to her reputation. And from my perspective, the Oswego County sheriffs need to train their deputies to understand when they can and cannot identify people. They just because they are investigating someone does not give them the authorization to identify people. In Nazi Germany in 1939, that was certainly the case, but not in the United States of America in 2024 or 2023 in this case. They need probable cause in order to do that, and they didn't have that initially. What they did was they just went on the word of a convicted felon, and they did no investigation whatsoever. It's just shoddy police work, unprofessional, porky behavior, and a complete lack of knowledge or ignoring of the law. And so defendant Hilton had a legal duty to the public, including the plaintiff, to properly train and supervise his deputy sheriffs. As a result of the breach of that duty to properly train and supervise deputies, it was foreseeable that any of his deputies might cause harm to a member of the public by arresting a member of the public, including plaintiff herein, for obstruction of governmental administration. Utter nonsense. So they trespassed her, charged her with obstruction of governmental administration and disorderly conduct. They made up the disorderly conduct 6 months after the original arrest because they knew that they couldn't get the conviction for trespass without the conviction for the obstruction. And they couldn't get the conviction on the obstruction because obstruction requires intent. And there was no intent. So they threw in the disorderly because it's a pretty vague statute, and it's not even a crime. It's a violation. It's like a parking ticket. But they wanted to get any kind of conviction that they could get to protect from this lawsuit, but they failed to do so. The district attorney was negligent, and he didn't file timely, so the cases were dismissed. So I suspect he didn't file timely because he didn't want the sheriff to be on the stand. He didn't want his pal Barney to be on the stand or to be deposed. So he decided to try to make it go away by pretending to have accidentally not filed in a timely manner for a speedy trial violation. But the thing is, now that the charges are dismissed and this lawsuit is enacted, unless the county wants to pony up some coin, Barney will be deposed. Sheriff Hilton will be deposed. Those deputies will be deposed. Barney will be deposed. And we'll get to the bottom of all of this. That's the Michelle Allen lawsuit. They bullied her. They tried to teach her a lesson, and they violated the law. And frankly, the DA should resign. The sheriff should resign. And Dan Barney should resign. And but anyway, there's the lawsuit. You're welcome to read the whole thing. I fully support Terry Hoffman in this lawsuit and Michelle Allen, and I have the utmost confidence they will prevail. This is Mike Franklin, the property tax guy.